Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker, and today this is the talking head video. I don't have any graphics. I don't have any articles to read. I'm just gonna talk to you guys. And I wanted to cover one of the things that I think a lot of men's channels get asked, which is, hey, why don't you guys talk about hobbies, talk about investments, talk about other topics other than women behaving badly? And maybe some of the things that affect guys is when it comes to, I don't know, laws or other things. And I've been told, hey, talk about other things, man. We get tired of hearing about women. Well, I wanted to discuss this today because I think there's very good reasoning why channels like mine and others that are men's channels, Bachelor channels, or whether you're a fan of Coach Greg Adams or Sandman or TFM or Chronic or whoever else, why we talk about women behaving badly so much and about a lot of the things that we talk about. And so I'm going to address these one by one, and hopefully you guys will agree with me. And maybe this is something that when other people kind of give you flack for watching this type of channel, you have an answer for. First, number one, why do I not talk about hobbies? Well, one of the reasons why I don't talk about hobbies or men's activities is because on my channel, at least, there's almost 360,000 of you, and the odds of hobbies aligning to everyone just doesn't make any sense. So I could talk about how I love skiing, or I can talk about flying drones, I can talk about video editing and other stuff, but there's channels that do that already, and they're much better at it than I am. So whether it comes to hobbies or investments or working out or losing weight, I could come on here and say, oh, I often fast. Like I'm getting ready. Matter of fact, I'm going to go down and buy a scale. And I'm going to step on the scale. And after I'm done with my crying for 10 or 15 minutes, I'll realize, okay, I probably have about 30 pounds to lose. And then I'm going to go on my diet. Now, my diet happens to be fasting. That's part of it. Every other day, intermittent fasting. The other thing is I'll hit the gym really hard on a fasted stomach, and I work out. And I'll eat just a couple of 100 calories of protein powder to give my muscles something to work with. But other than that, I don't eat anything else. It's like 200-300 calories a day. That's how I do it. But then I'm going to get pushback of fasting is not healthy, or do you know what you're doing, or make sure you do this, and you're not doing this right. And there are people that know fasting better than I do. I just know what works for me. And I'm not a health person. Like I'm not a fitness guru. I'm not a dietitian. I can't give out advice like that. Same thing with investing. I bought most of my crypto and other things when they were hundreds of dollars each, not tens of thousands. So to tell you how to do it nowadays wouldn't do any good. And with the hobbies, I like skiing, but I can't tell you how to ski. There are ski professionals that have videos on that stuff. And video editing, there's people that do better video editing than I do. So why would you listen to me? And that only covers one or two hobbies out of literally tens of thousands of different hobbies. So I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of men's channels don't go into that, because if you are interested in that topic, there are people that are better at it than we are. So we more or less, or at least myself, I try to tell you, hey, just be happy and chase your dreams, chase your passions, work that is going to, that you enjoy, but will primarily make you successful and give you advantages in life. That's kind of the stuff I think is most important. And then if you say, okay, I do need to invest, Joker's right. I got a good job now. I want to invest. Go look up an investing channel. If you say, hey, I don't know what I want for a hobby, but I like photography, go look at a photography channel and learn how to do photography well. Any of the things that I talk about, which are movie reviews and other stuff, I'll put over on my B-Sides channel. So I think that's why a lot of times men's channels don't necessarily tell you how to better yourself, other than to tell you, hey, maybe work out, maybe get in better shape, maybe become stoic, think less with your emotions, and chase your passions. Then it's up to you to decide what those passions are and go chase them. I've been criticized by other channels for not telling people like what to do in X situation. Well, those situations are different, and everybody's situation is different. But I can tell you, hey, stand up for yourself, look out for yourself, protect yourself. And then how you go about that is up to you. So a lot of times I get called out for not necessarily giving giving a plan of action, that plan of action would be completely different for somebody that lives in Russia in a small town versus somebody that lives in New York City in a big town versus somebody that maybe lives, I don't know, in Thailand or the Philippines outside of Bangkok or Manila or something or other. So that's why a lot of the advice doesn't. So then what do you fill your time with? Well, the reason why men's channels talk a lot about dating and the dating advice and the dating world is because a lot of guys still want to date. They haven't full on decided they're going to stay out of the market, but they've been told kind of old-fashioned dating advice. They've been told, you know what, just grow up and be a good provider and be a good man and have a good job, and make sure you love and take care of a woman, and you'll be happy, and she'll stick by your side, and she'll treat you well, and happily ever after, like a house on the hill, with a white picket fence and 2 kids. Well, a big reason that doesn't work is because that's not how society is anymore. So that's why we talk a lot about society and about the new ways of dating and also the other things to avoid in the dating world. And that's for the people that are still dating. The other thing we talk about a lot and that I think is important is men are often told we're the ills of society. We're the problems. The patriarchy and the wage gap and all the other negative things that men that we do or that we're responsible for, supposedly. But then when you really look at society, men built society. We're the ones that made life easy for everybody. We're the ones doing the most dangerous jobs. And so we try to talk about, things that are important along those lines because it's, men need a pep talk. Men need cheering up a lot of times. And channels like mine, we try to talk about, or specifically, maybe I should stop saying channels like mine, and I'll just say my channel. But I like to talk about these things because I think a lot of guys don't hear it. We don't get pep talks. Even on Father's Day and International Men's Day, they talk about how men and fathers should be supporting women. So men need cheerleaders, and I think that's what channels, what I try to do on my channel. We're told that everything that goes wrong in the dating world right now, at least we're told this by society and mainstream media, that it's our fault. That men are too quick to dump girls, that they move on too quickly. They don't commit anymore. We're man-child. We're man-children, Peter Pan syndrome, and all the other things. But that doesn't take into account why men are acting like the way they are, and that the vast majority of men that want to date can't or aren't given that opportunity because they're now invisible to women, or they get on dating apps. And, as a guy, you put yourself out there on a dating app, and you're swiping on women you think are kind of okay looking to you, and you probably feel like, hey, I'm at least as good as she is, if not maybe even a little better, but I'll at least expand my horizons a little bit or my choices a little bit to see if maybe I can date somebody, and you're still turned down by those women. And so you'll be on a dating app for weeks, months, several months, years without any action. And that's really easy to make a man feel down on himself, to feel like maybe he's unattractive or isn't worthy of love or attention. So that's why that's why I talk about those things. Guys are told that they're not good enough, that they aren't making enough money. Oh, you don't have a college degree, even though you're a plumber making 60 or 80 grand a year. Well, you don't have an education, and you're only a plumber, and you're not tall enough, you're not good looking enough, you're not muscular enough. That gets guys down. And so on my channel, when we talk about these things, we make fun of it. And you're also in a community of 350,000 other guys that are in the same boat, that are like, yeah, me too, man. It's not just you. It's all of us. All of us have been hurt or crushed or dumped or not given an opportunity or can't date or feel like we're out of place in society. So I think it's that community thing that makes guys feel so good about that. The other thing, too, is that I didn't realize this until I was in about a year of my YouTube stuff, and I started putting my Instagram address out there, or my Instagram page out there, and I started getting messages from women that were watching my channel. And they said, hey, I like knowing what guys are going through. And you're right, a lot of women are giving us other women bad names. And I like to see the world through men's eyes so I can better understand them. And so I can maybe find a good guy that I've been overlooking. And now it's very easy for guys to say, oh, they're just chameleons and they're looking to fool men. And I'm sure some women would, but they're not the type that would watch video after video after video of mine learning how to fool guys. And I remember a conversation I had with a young woman who messaged me. And I actually dug through my Instagram history, and this was like a year ago, and I found the conversation. And this was of all things, this is a young black woman, which is like the last demographic I think I'd ever expect to watch my channel or Bachelor channel. I mean, I wouldn't expect her to listen to a, middle-aged white dude complain about the world. But she messaged me and she said, hey, you know what? I like your content and I'm getting a lot out of it. But I'm having a problem meeting somebody. Would you take a look at my dating profile and tell me what you think? And I said, yeah, sure. And so I looked over it. I said, everything looks fine. She's an attractive woman. She's in good shape. She takes care of herself. And I actually brought up the conversation, and I'm only going to read part of it, and I'm not going to give out any details because I didn't get permission to share this. But what she said is, she said, look over my profile, tell me what you think, and get back to me. So I did, and I said, your profile looks good. Are you not getting matches at all, or are you just getting it from guys that want to sleep with you? If it's only them sleeping with you, it means the men you are matching with are sleeping with other women as well, and they don't care about your personality. You're probably aiming too high, I'd say. I said, relax your standards to slightly less attractive men and guys that maybe have a little bit more in common than you do. And I said, then that's where you find love, not just someone that sleeps with you. And she says, okay, I'll try that. And that was in January of 2021. Well, she came back to me almost exactly a month later, February 2021, and she said, Joker, I met a boy. He's socially awkward, makes dad jokes, plays a lot of video games, but I like him. He's not the usual bodybuilder type I go for, but I'm happy because he's smarter. He's better. I like talking to him. He's a mechanic. He didn't go to college, but he's done well for himself. He also makes me feel like I'm some drop-dead gorgeous girl, even though I'm not. But he is very kind to me. Thank you. I've really been focusing on listening to him, trying to understand the things he likes. You're the best. I also met him on Tinder. He said he thought I was a bot girl. And then she says, I also think you'd be a great match for my sister, so if you're single, considering reaching out to her. And then she sent me a picture of her sister, which I thought was very sweet. So what's the takeaway from that? Well, there are women out there, and I've met them. They've messaged me. I've been in contact with some of them. Not so much anymore because now I get so much between emails and locals messages and Instagram messages. I just can't keep up, so I've kind of fallen so far behind on that. But the takeaway is there are women out there that do want to find good men, but society or the media or the news or these ridiculous stories we read have pointed them in the wrong direction. And they're chasing after happiness where I think a lot of them will never find any. And they're just going to get used and abused by good-looking, popular guys, the alpha widow, we call them, and they'll get tossed away. So there are women that do want, like, good guys. And I think listening to channels like this help them understand what we see. So that's a lot of the times, like, why I do I'm going to do a story on Paula, what's her name? Paula Porskova? Is that her name? Paulina, why can't I remember her name now? Let me go here. Paulina Poriskov. Paulina Poriskov? Poriskova. Okay, that's it. The supermodel, Paulina Poriskova. I'm going to do a video on this. Why? Because when she was a supermodel, she was the most desired woman in the world. And now she's in her mid-50s, and she says in the story, I'm literally invisible to men. Like, men will walk away from me mid-sentence to go talk to a younger, more attractive woman. And you might say, well, what does a middle-aged woman have to do with a Bachelor channel and guys talking about women? It's because a lot of guys today are unhappy and they're frustrated, and they get that red pill rage because they are a good guy. Maybe they're decent looking, maybe they're not, but they just don't feel like they have any opportunity to date. And it's these beautiful women, or maybe even average women, that are just telling these guys, you're not good enough, you're a loser, you're whatever. And that can be really damaging to a guy's psyche. Well, to come back around and talk about a supermodel that is now in her 50s and single and gets no attention from men and feels like it's the world is unfair, it's very cathartic. It's very cleansing. It makes guys feel better about themselves. Why? Because the beautiful ones, these beautiful people that seemingly have these wonderful lives and tell these guys, or tell us guys, we're losers, or you're a sad sack of potatoes and I deserve better. It feels really good to watch them come back around and see them where they were wrong, and see them get their just desserts, and to see that not only are they as miserable, but in many cases more miserable than the men that they hurt so long ago. And it kind of reinforces, again, to men that we're not the crazy ones, that we haven't lost our minds, that we are sane, we are in touch with the world. It's just the world has kind of gone crazy. And so it's maybe the best way to sum it all up is just like guys that have drinking problems, just like people that have drinking problems, they go to AA meetings, Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, to talk about their addictions and their problems and their griefs and their struggles. I think in many ways this is the same way. And that guys come here to, number one, be in a community of like-minded men. Number two, they talk about the times they've been hurt. They talk about the times that they weren't given a chance, or when women did something crazy to them, or that they've never had an opportunity to date. And then they see hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands, or hundreds of thousands of men that are saying, yeah, me too, man. It's not just you. You know, I've seen comments like, I'm 6'2", and I've always been traditionally attractive, but women are crazy, and they don't even give me the time of day. Or I've gone out with them, and they made a bad accusation against me. Or the only ones I'm meeting on the dating apps are, you know, unattractive or heavyset or rude or mean or whatever. So we talk about these things, I think, to find commonality in the world. And I've done videos that talk about being alone or stoicism, or some of the societal studies, I think, that shows what direction society's going in. But those are always viewed a little bit less. Usually the ones where I'm talking about women behaving badly, or women being entitled, or women being rude, or women being this or that and the other thing, they always seem to do the best. And I think that boils down to a lot of guys are good. A lot of guys are in a good place. And when they're in a good place for a little while, sometimes they forget about the bad times they had, because the mind is, I don't know if all of you know this or not, but the mind is naturally wired to remember the good things and try to forget about the bad things. Because if you only remember the bad things and forgot about the good things, I don't think as a society, or even as a human being, we would do very well. We'd probably remember every trauma that ever hurt us, forget all the good times, and you'd have a miserable life. So I think the brain is wired to remember the good things. When you're in a good place in life and things are going well, and you've gotten over the ex-girlfriend or somebody that hurt you, and you're ready to go out there and date again, it's very easy to forget the nightmare you may be wading into. And so I think people use channels like mine, you guys use channels like mine, to not only, number one, remember some of the warning signs, remember things are not your fault. Remember, there's a lot of guys that go through what you go through, and it's nice to see women getting their just desserts for treating us poorly. And it's a reminder, hey, you know what? Remember, these crazies exist. You need to look out for red flags if you're going to date. Maybe cranking one off and taking a nap is better than jumping through a bunch of hoops to take a girl out so you can get her in bed. You know, maybe you have to slow down and think with a big head instead of the little head if you want to date and find a good girlfriend. I think that these channels share, or again, I'm saying these channels, but I am talking kind of general red pill men's channels. I think these channels are such a hit with guys is that it's just your daily reminder that you're okay. Society is the one going crazy. Dating, if you're struggling in dating, it's not your fault. And all the people that hurt you, let's talk about the struggles that they're going through now so that you can see, again, that it wasn't necessarily your fault. So I think that's why I think that's why men's channels, and specifically mine even, focus on women being bad actors and the laws and stoicism. And we don't talk much about investing or hobbies or ways to better yourself, because the way men better themselves is individual. It's just to kind of give you a ground set of ideas to maybe build off of. And so for those of you that are kind of curious as to why my channel and maybe other channels like this keep roasting women and laughing about the situation, because if you don't, you go crazy. You have to laugh at the silliness of it. You have to, and it feels good to make fun of the people that maybe hurt you or turned you down or say all the world's problems are your fault. And then when you turn around and you look at them and you go, they're not even as happy as I am. They're not doing as well as I am. Everything that they're talking about is just show. They're actually really unhappy, miserable people on the outside or on the inside. So maybe I'm doing something that's smart. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down below. Again, if you want me to cover specific topics, I will. But I don't do it too often, like especially like hobbies and investing, because I know what works for me, but not for you. There's specific channels out there that do those kind of things. But if you'd like me to talk about a certain scientific study or I don't know, anything specific along those lines, guys, leave a comment down below and I'll try to look into it. And we'll leave it there. Guys, if you'd like to support my work, links below as always. If you have, thank you very much. Best way you can support me is like, comment, share, subscribe, and join me over on betterbachelor.locals.com, where it is a free speech forum. You can say pretty much whatever, whenever, however. And we talk about jabs and politics and a bunch of other stuff. But it's the last place that a lot of people feel that they can talk about some of these topics. So join us over there, and I'd appreciate it very much. We'll see you in the next one, guys.